Hey, beloved ones, welcome to Shri and Kira Live. I am wisdom teacher Shri Ram Ka, and Master Lady Kira Ra will be here in just a moment. We're just juggling in profound energy and profound gratitude as we are transitioning from the Unifying Voices event here to our regular Sunday broadcast at YouTube. And we welcome you. We are glad you're here, and I think many of you joining us were part of this amazing event. And for those of you that were not part of the event, please know that you can still join. You can get the video replays. And we invite you to go to unifyingvoices.world, unifyingvoices.world, and there you will discover the amazing weekend event, the Equinox weekend event that we have just gone through. And this event is truly magnificent. Now, hang on, I am making a little adjustment here on my video and such. There we go. So, beloved ones, here we are at the equinox. And one of the things I would love to share with you is the gift of the indigenous knowings about the power of this equinox. Here, she's coming soon. The equinox, as Alexander Padillo, who is the one of the leading taitas of the Kanyari people here in Ecuador, he was here all weekend long with us. And what he shared is that this is the day of the new fire. Now, consider for a moment the new fire. Relax into the knowing that each and every time we light a fire, we are in a prayerful moment, are we not? We're asking for heat. We're asking for illumination. We're seeking to cook our food. We're seeking to warm our water, to support life. And the March equinox is about that Inti Rami. It's about the new life, that which is emerging, is coming forward. And so I just love the phrase where it is about the new fire, that we're starting fresh, we're starting anew. And this indigenous wisdom is so powerful and so timely for all of us. Because consider that to start anew is to say, I am making a fresh choice. I am choosing anew. I am choosing again. And in that is the opportunity to exercise our free will, to exercise our love and our guidance in a new way, in a healthy way.
So I just want to jump in and say I have no idea what happened to our camera, but I feel like I look like I just got a sunburn in a minute.
All right, let's see what we can do
So
about that.
no worries at all. It just took me by surprise if you caught my look. Like, what happened to us in 30 seconds? Here's what happened to me, and maybe it's why I do look like I've got a sunburn. When we just culminated, what is really one of the most profound things that has ever happened. 3 days of continual ceremony where everyone has just been exquisitely woven together and helping each other and supporting each other, and literally everything. We didn't need a plan B, we needed a plan D, E, and F, including Friday night when Yaku Perez, who promised to be there early, showed up like at the very end of the event. And our mayor showed up early and I didn't know he was there, and I would have put him on and just spent so much more time with him. And so there were things like that, and the musicians going, oops, we forgot we were opening the show. And all of that made it rich and beautiful, and the way that it came together was emergent. It was just so emergent, and the emergent miracles and the revelations, and literally very much the illumination of the full moon, that which was trying to be hidden could not be and was clearly seen.
Yes.
And that all are in the opportunity with the light on them right now to either step into that light and say, yes, please, I'm ready to be in this light, I get it. Or to go, whoa, no, 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 I don't want that. I don't want that scene. So I'm going to hang with this experience of light. We are very much at that moment where, remember that 2022 is all about, can humanity survive dogma? And everyone that was there with us over the weekend, and we have so many more here that we have not read out loud yet, but please keep sending them in, because we're going to make a little video that will include all of them. So it's not too late. And for those of you that are just jumping into the videos, keep sending in your sharings through the end of this week, because we're going to wait to make sure that everyone who wants to, including pictures, so many beautiful pictures of the ceremonial sites that you all created and have been working with all weekend. And I'll tell you guys, I'm really tired in a good way. It's that moment of the physical body going, okay, you're just about at peak holding for this long, for this many, but there's been enough of us that we are sustaining. We are actually expanding that ripple. And I just want to give a big bow to unify.org as well. And in this moment, before we go any further, I want to return to where we just were. Because during the break, the reason I was just a moment delayed coming back was that I first was crying so hard, I had to just let go and realize the tears I was sharing were tears of joy and appreciation for someone that I love dearly and someone that I have had the honor of being able to mentor through a journey. And she is right now doing something that none of us knew about until her sharing came in, because she's been on this journey with us during this weekend. And I really feel it's a beautiful honoring of her personal journey. I want to share that as I share this email again. And those of you that just heard it, I'm going to read it again because I think it demands being read twice. Yeah. And that I want to also remind all of you that, you know, with her presence over there and what we're doing with the Avesa International and Clinica Linda, thank you again to all of you who donated over the weekend. And remember that we really appreciate all donations. They are fully tax deductible under the United States tax deductibility. It is a 501c3 recognized donation. We are sincerely in a moment where so many can be helped so quickly. And if you were with us Friday night, you also noticed one of our other surprises was the doctor arrival, right? Our doctor came, who was going to come earlier timed with when we were talking about the miracles. But here in Cuenca, we are literally having medical doctors documenting medical miracles. And here's been what's so fabulous. And of course, kind of like that's been staring us a while. It's the combination of the laser and the rods that are calling forward these miracle healings. So Sri, I'm just gonna let you share a little bit, and then I want to get to this email because I really want us to be in the energy of miracles and holding presence.
Yeah, Kara's referring to the Egyptian healing rods, which are a time-proven energetic healing tool that has come on this planet through multiple cycles of evolution at moments of what you might call ascension moments, that when consciousness is cycling at a place where it can actually work with and benefit from the energy of these pyramid charged crystal filled rods. And I'm not going to say more about that right now, other than we've been working with them for 20 years. We have witnessed blood pressure stabilize, diabetes.
And you know, I do want to remind you, those of you that don't remember, when Sri and I lived in the United States, these work so well. And we had so many people coming off their blood pressure medication, so many people reversing diabetes that the FDA came after us. Yeah. And for a cool $1 million, they would have approved them. And these non-invasive crystal-filled rods, all right, these right here, they were trying to classify as, what was it?
A class 4 medical device, like a pacemaker.
Right. So in order for us,
surgically installed.
So in order for us to keep selling these and making them available to the world, our partners in Russia, because they are conditioned in a pyramid in Russia, had to strip their website of their medical science. And what is so for us to be able to keep selling them in the States. However, we're creating our own medical science, and it's right here and it's documented. We also are excited that we are building our own pyramid so that we can open up rods production here in South America, so that there will now be, for the first time ever that we're aware of on this side of the world, a 22-meter tall golden
high
mean
aspect ratio pyramid.
Built, you ready for this, guys? Built with the indigenous construction of the Cañari. So the incredible energy of this pyramid, and we're Going to invite everybody to come and enjoy it. It will be open. There will be a second private level, kind of equivalent to like a King's Chamber experience that we've been feeling energetically, where we will be conditioning all the things for the rods and be able to have the rods on this side of the world as well.
Yeah, this is a 72-foot tall pyramid made of
Baharike. It's a hard one to pronounce.
And it's bamboo and adobe
Mud
and mud and straw, and we'll put glass on the outside to have the nice smooth skin. It's going to be a fabulous construction, high energy, above 600 on Hawkins scale, and will help stabilize and heal this planet.
It's being built at the equator here in the heart of the world, where we will be able to all have something that has never been before. And if you've seen those triple goddess lakes, it's going right out in that field where our Maria is right now. And tomorrow, we will not be broadcasting, but we will be filming. Tomorrow we are going to the Virgin of the Cajas, C-A-J-A, if you want to look up what this is, the Guardiana de la Fe. It is an apparition site of the beautiful Maria that was introduced to us by our beloved dear friend Carlos Ugalde and his wife Lorena. We have personally had miracles happen there, including the last time we were there with Carlos and Lorena. And arriving there on World Water Day tomorrow, when the water that flows from there is already miracle water.
Yes, it is.
Collecting that water, having the experiences we're going to have, we are going to be bringing all of that on this Tuesday, the 22nd. I can't stress it enough. Put it on your calendar. Please be there. It is at noon Ecuador time. I've been giving people the wrong time. So this is the correct time because it needs to be the middle of the day from the middle of the earth. And the Guardiana de la Fe, the Virgin of the Cajas, is where it's literally like the ground zero of where the Kundalini of the planet moved from 2012. And it's been standing there, not stable. And that's what's happening right now, is that it hadn't been recognized. And so all of the messages that we have been collecting now for many months, since the first time we were there, including and up to what will happen there tomorrow, will be integrated into everything that's happened in this equinox, into the World Peace Experience being hosted by unify.org. So you really want to be there, make a note, be on our newsletter list. You'll get the direct link. You want to put this on your calendar right now. It's at noon Ecuador time, which I believe is 1 p.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. Pacific. Is that right? Am I right? I think it is. It's 10. No, I think it's 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay. Well, we know it's 1 o'clock Eastern.
We know it's 1 o'clock Eastern and it's noon here. And so let's go back to what's happening with Lori.
Yes.
Because I really think that before we would offer anything else today, I really, this one particular sharing that happened with those of you that were beautiful donation and were in the back room of this event all weekend, it came in there, and she has been with us all weekend, and I don't want to say anything else till I read the email.
Yeah, and so for those of you that are going, wait a minute, what happened this weekend?
Yeah,
right.
Good question.
A wonderful gathering, both live stream and actual in person here at TOSA Blue Mountain, Ecuador, to celebrate the equinox. It's called Unifying Voices.
Yeah.
And in that energy of bringing the tribes together, the elders together, the musicians together, and the people together to acknowledge that together we are better. Together we have a unified heart. And so many people
to do something about it, not just talk about it.
Yeah, to take passionate action.
Exactly. This is the voice of passionate action. I mean, literally.
And so many people have shared what has inspired and what has touched them. And Kira's going to share with you this wonderful sharing from Lori.
So bringing you back into context, and those of you that were with us, maybe a hand to your heart and breathing in because you know what's coming, right? Shri and I were culminating the event by reading and weaving this community of dialogue of your sharings, those of you that were with us over the weekend offering into the sharing. And when we came to this one, and it, not coincidentally, of course, would have had to have been the last one that we agreed to read, we had not read any of these prior to being on the air, just so you're aware. And this one caught us so deeply that when we ended just now, I had to go sit and be, and I'll share with you a little bit more after I read it. So hands to our heart. Would you like to read it this time, Shri?
Or would you?
I think this time Shri should read it. Those of you that were there earlier heard it from me. I think it should be in perfect balance, you know, the masculine and the feminine.
All right.
So there we are. I'm going to bring my hands to my heart.
So, beloved ones, take a breath and be present for this heartfelt sharing from one of our community members, one of your community members.
Yes.
You know the energy of one world, one voice, one love of this gathering. I have brought with me to Poland and the border of Ukraine to the refugees with supplies of prayer wraps blessed over with love. The amount of resistance every step, so many tests to arrive here during 24 hours of travel almost made me give up. And then I heard Kira's voice. I'm really glad I did, or I wish I would have. And I rose up higher in awareness, and nobody would keep me from bringing the energy of love and this gathering effort firsthand to the moms and children at the border. Density did not stop love and will never stop it. I may be one body, but I carry the energy of the millions who are sharing in this global effort with TOSA. And what fuels me in heart and soul. Love knows no borders. Love prevails over fear. Trust is love, and I come here with this truth. As the full moon over Warsaw from the plain reminds me that we are all better together. One light touches 100,000, and from there the love mission here will represent this truth. Divine love prevails over all. I carry the energy of this TOSA global energy effort in my being here. 25 hours of travel. I now leave to Warsaw and drive to Przemysl. I may not have pronounced that correctly. Love and gratitude for the strength of this community and its wisdom, and to keep my soul journey in authenticity and love in pure form. Shared by Lori.
So I want you all to take in a breath, because once again, I am filled with tears because Lori, I know Lori very well. She's been here at TOSA Blue Mountain several times, and we've had the blessing of mentoring her journey for many years now. And Lori, I really invite you, please keep us every step of the way. How can we support you more? For those of you on this side saying, how can we support what Lori's presence with the blessing of the Yoga of Self-Ascension sharing to so many right now, especially to these mothers and children? This is the voice of passionate action. This is not activism. This is what my heart has called me to do. And this is for each individual to find that moment. And so, Lori, I want you to know that the reason people saw me run back and forth when the show opened today was because I got this for you. And this was made for me. It is a one of a kind, hand carved labradorite, and it's prettier than my camera's showing you. Hand carved, and I had it mounted just in a very, there it goes. It's got a little bit of a better, there it goes. You can kind of see how it's very, very large and beautiful. It's huge. You see that? And so I've been wearing it on a wisdom strand of garnet. And after I read your letter, I sat down and I really felt what the tears were. And it was just this being. Sri and I have been in war zones. We have been in disaster zones. We know this moment. And what I know is that holding your mastery presence, you are always protected. Just like yesterday, I saw someone who had an entity that was not of the highest, and I learned how to protect them in new ways myself. And so, on behalf of our community, on behalf of all my brothers and sisters in India and the artisans that made this, and for all of us, I am going to hang this on our private altar. And when you return to TOSA Blue Mountain, I look forward to the day I put it back on you, because I know that you are protected and that you called this in during this specific equinox moment. Yes. Thereby, you are also holding a part of us all right now. And you have always been able to do that. And I know that each one of us right now is raising our hands and bowing before you. And I encourage all of you at YouTube, throw in your, put your love in the chat for Lori. Let her find it if she's not able to be here live with us right now. I'm not sure where she's at or what time zone she's in or when this message came in. but it really is. I just want to go back to Shri. Let's just take a moment. Feel your hands. Wow. I think we just have to stop. Are you guys feeling the power of us collectively? Wow. Are you feeling that? Is that great? Oh my gosh. I love when this happens. Like your hands, right? Feel what we're doing. This is us right now. And if you're not feeling it, clap your hands. Clapping your hands helps get rid of any energy that's trying to stop you along your way, right? Plus, it makes you laugh. It's fun. But just, be here right now. Be here right now. Be here right now. Rub those hands together. There we are. Yeah, yeah, there we are. Better. That was fun.
Absolutely. Actually, I'm
Yes.
smiling. This beautiful pendant, the Ganesha Ji, the remover of obstacles.
And the trust, right?
The trust,
It's
yeah.
really, for me, very much that remover of obstacles is that remover of that self-sabotage cycle. If you don't know what that is, go watch last week's show. But Shri, I want to show them right now. Can I see what our shares are that are available? Do we have the 7 polarities?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So the reason I want to show you all the 7 polarities chart is that for those of you that this may be the first time that you've ever seen this, in 2015, the Ascended Masters clearly offered through I was blessed just through my hands to type it up, that this was what was coming forward as the potentialities, and that we were starting to move into multidimensional consciousness, and that time itself would be shifting as it has. And this was the time frame when the up level calendar started being published, things of that nature. And the reason I'm sharing it with you again right now is because Lori's sharing came after we had just shared the unified message for the world, which is the intention of the process we're in right now. And if you gaze up at the top in that gray bar, what 2015 through 2021 prepared all of humanity for is to move into the force of co-creation as trust, and to be aware of the force of destruction of density known as fear. That these, known as the 7 polarities of free will, were all expressions of fear or trust. And through the navigation of the Yoga of Self-Ascension over all these years, the one constant that has once over and over again really borne out, and our dog has been very
Patient.
and nervous since things changed on the planet. Very nervous to the point where we're pretty much having to keep him very close to us. So please forgive us that little moment of distraction. But we are at that moment where the level and the ability of your trust will directly affect the love. And what Lori did was the epitome of the trust love intersection. She's literally walking in that center, right? That cross of perfect balance. And that's why I wanted to bring that up again, was that is, and it doesn't take going to the border of a war zone and helping refugees for that to come forward. That comes forward in lots of ways. That comes forward in doing something that's outside something you might not have ever done before, out of maybe trusting yourself or standing up for yourself. This weekend I do in the moment of celebrating women, the Kenyardi, when they were here. This moment is all about celebrating women, and it's all about balance. And I want to remind you of that with the Ascended Numerology. Can we put that up, Sri?
Sure.
Because this was really witnessed through the victim triangle and the need to remember that we are at that moment. Part of can humanity survive dogma is really, can humanity accept balance? The male-female balance. This is why everything around gender is getting so heated, because it's at the core of the essence of reunification.
Each of us is indeed in an evolutionary moment, and the universe is conspiring to awaken us evermore.
So gazing at the clock, let's remember very quickly that this month, the ascended numerology of this month is March itself is the 6th. So we have this anchor because it's just the 6th. So we know we've got this foundation of the 6th. And remember that the foundation of the 6th is the one spot on the wheel that can carry the burden of it all, but it doesn't have to. However, it's capable of doing it. So March is going to carry us through. It's a big month. It had to hold this moment. It had to sustain this equinox experience, which is this massive wave, right? But when you crown that with the year, you get the 6 again. So what happens is that we've really got this nice anchor, but what's happening with the year is that it leaves us up into the infinite presence. And that infinite presence brings us back all the way to the top of the clock, literally splitting it into two. So this month is all about, is this the crease that folds the wings and allows them to fly? So are you opening and spreading your wings, or is this the crack that separates it? It's a twinning experience. And there was an ensoulment that came through around this. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, other than you really need to get to shrinkcare.com and read all these articles, because this is the moment we're looking at right now.
It's a powerful time, and when we look at that energy of the 6, this is it resides right in the breadbasket of your body.
It's not about the number 6 that you're thinking of, a traditional chakra. It's
No.
actually the 6th energy, which is the 2nd chakra.
Yeah, the energy, we're talking about the numerological energy here, not the chakra number.
The ascendant numerological energy.
Yes. And so that energy is residing at your place of balance, which is the 2nd chakra, because the 2nd chakra is that place where we hold the creative energy. You know, in the densified system, that's considered sexual. In the ascended system, it's creation. And we all create regardless of our sexuality. We are all creators. And what are we creating is directly affected by our level of consciousness and the energies that we are gathering and identifying with.
It's a gateway to 7th dimensional freedom, because remember that in the traditional systems, 1st, 2nd, 3rd chakra are really about safety, sex, and power, right? I want it for me, I want to get mine, and then I want to have dominion over, right? And that is a pretty intense position to open a heart, right? That's why for many dogmas, just getting to the heart is the hugest
That's
accomplishment,
huge,
right?
yeah.
And it's the only accomplishment, because when you want to go beyond that is when you push the limits of the dogma, because the dogma is like, this is good enough because this is massive compared to what that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in consciousness, how does that relate to the levels of consciousness, right? Because
Well,
I know it has a big relationship.
It does, and it is a significant accomplishment to move
Right.
out of subject, object, higher, lower, judgment, all that.
My group is better than your group.
Yeah, to come to a peaceful, heart-centered energy. That
Right.
is the heart chakra at its balance state. You know, oftentimes love permeates into selfish motives. You know, we blend the love with other ulterior motives.
Right.
But to come to a peaceful, balanced state of love, which is what every great religion on the planet teaches, go to the heart. What they didn't tell you is from there, we stabilize and can open to the entire cosmic blessing, the ascended frequencies of your mastery. And so the heart chakra is indeed a pivotal place to anchor at, and it is the beginning of the ascended state of consciousness.
And I want to share another. I'm going to give this to you for a moment. I want to get close to the camera. I want to share with you all something else that was another miracle that happened this weekend, and part of that ascended state of consciousness. Many of you have noticed and asked me about this. Well, this is the boat between two worlds, and it's one that was made for us because I couldn't find it. So we were in Cairo. I was at this jeweler. Luxor. It was Luxor. I was in Luxor. We were at this jeweler, and so you can see it's all real stones and the beautiful way the Eye of Horus is done here. And this is basically sailing the sea of eternal consciousness. This is navigating that sea of neutrality through our divine mastery being. And I owned this for many years. When we were in Egypt, I made Sri crazy we had to find it, but I never wore it until about the past year because I didn't really understand it. Then what happened was, what I'm wearing it with, I'm going to show you behind it. You see that? I hide things behind there. What I'm wearing it with is that the gold, I forget, they call it some kind of a gold, liquid gold. And this is very rare Guatemalan jade. And so I always keep the heart of Guatemala around my heart with gold in my eternal presence. And this is a big, big, big hessonite that I wear because of the influences in my Vedic chart. And I make sure that they are always, you see that U, and sometimes I hang a Rudraksha here. As a matter of fact, the Rudraksha I hang there, I always wear, and I have it on right now. And the reason I want to share that with you is because we are at a moment where everything that's being thrown at you is a question of what is being protected. So it brings me to what's this? And this is from this weekend. So I have been wearing Guatemala and the ascended framework of that which holds the lineage that this potentiality has called me through. And what's under here, and I want you all to see it on me. I'm going to lift this high because this is important. This is Umbotsman's. So this was worn by and owned by Umbotsman, and you can see it. And Tree, what is that stone? Is it obsidian, snowflake?
Let me see. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
snowflake obsidian.
So you can see it's a pretty thick piece. I'm going to turn it. You see that? And on the back, it has the spiral. And on the front, you see that? Isn't that beautiful? Look.
Yeah. So that transmutes lots of energies.
And so the spiral, you see the flatter side, it's actually about having the spiral hidden, and that's constantly. And you can see how powerful that is. And I have had this piece hanging right here in my private apartment with some very powerful energies holding it, knowing that I was to bring it to the ceremony with Cesar that happened over the weekend. And it was during that ceremony that Umbotsman once again reminded me of many things that I guess I had forgotten since our ceremony in Merida, assisted me to be very aware of the attacks that would come on his son and actually helped influence one, and shared with me that I was to keep this still because I had in my experience thought I would be handing it back to Cesar in this moment, and instead it's about the ignition. And I find it very powerful that I'm wearing Guatemala with Mexico with the ignition of the ascended energies here at Ecuador. And I'm inviting all of you to notice within yourself what is coming forward that's showing and affirming that which is happening in your world experience right now. And I also am hoping that, we forgot to mention that as we have a few more revelations to share with you, make sure that you're putting your comments into the chat so that Jess can get them to us. And I'm going to check on that as well. Sure. And your questions, because
if you have questions,
there's a lot that's been, I must have felt it because I have WhatsApp notifications. So I think that must be what I was feeling right now.
Yeah, so we invite you to go ahead if you have questions or anything you want to share with us, put it in the chat.
Oh, yes. So you know what, Sri, it must be what I was feeling. So we're going to interrupt what we were saying and where we're going next. We'll bring it back with absolutely what is coming forward that Jess has sent through right now. So I'm going to share it right now. This is from Ava. Sacred. Let's bring our hands to our heart because we have like the most amazing community. You guys are amazing. From Ava. Sacred ceremony continuing here. Sent an intention that this sacredness continue with us, each heartbeat and Ave Sa breath all the time. Thank you, sweetheart. We are so grateful. Here's another one. I'm not sure who this is. I'll just say it's from PT. What a fabulous, miraculous, heart-touching, moving, loving celebration that TOSA Blue Mountain was. Lots of hearts and little prayer hands that I love. We love you too, sweetheart. From Sue, our Sue Sturdivant. Mwah. Lori, may you feel my heart in love and presence for all you are doing, and your presence on the planet. Aho. And we all, Lori, keep us in the loop. We want to help. Angela, Lori, we honor you. Excuse me. Such amazing courage and faith. Thank you for your presence and strength. And wow, thank you all. And remember, put your sharing and your questions about anything that Shri and I are sharing out there so that Jess can get them to us. We do not personally monitor the chat so that we can be really here focused with you.
Absolutely. We are at the time of remembering the truth of our essence, which is understood as love.
Yes.
We are beyond the beyond. And when we begin to relax into the love that is our nature, our egoic preoccupations quiet. This quieting effect, Archangel Zadkiel phrased it this way: as we trust our mastery presence, the ego relaxes under the influence of the unconditional love of the soul. In all the great traditions, the pathways to enlightenment, there is a quote unquote struggle between the ego and the enlightened state of consciousness. And the ego is a sly pirate. The ego is rooted in density. The ego loves to interrupt, have control, and champion victim energy because it gets its juice there. However, it's not your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
It is an ally. It helps us be safe. It helps us navigate form and density, to have a sense of identity and preservation, and just enough attention that sometimes is blown up into big fear, but just enough attention to take good care
Yes.
of each other. And so as your mastery comes forward, as you relax into the love that is the gateway to ascended consciousness, the ego begins to soften and not choose to have to govern every moment of your life.
So as we breathe that in, I'm going to ask my husband to let our French bulldog out.
Okay.
And forgive me, guys, but I can't trust him. So if he's knocking at the door, we need him to go out. So, but this is our apartment. We have 4 dogs that live with us in this place. There we are. Thank you, everyone. So as we bring our hands to our heart right now, I want to go back and offer you, let me see where we have it here. Ah, there it is. A reminder about that density trifecta. You know, this density trifecta exists outside of any role or title or illusion that we may place upon ourselves. It is an opportunity every time to notice, to really own the what in me invited this to be. Because when we ignite the what in me invited this to be, that divine master, you see that, look at that word self-sabotage, but look right through it. That's you as the 0 point energy generator that you are. And what takes that you from the patient, eternal, offering you every experience you could ever want because it's part of that eternal experience, sitting there from that passive role into the active presence is the removal of the self-sabotage. The self-sabotage is the motor, it's the engine that frequently is attached to that second chakra that keeps that fear, doubt, and hesitancy running. Because if you have fear, doubt, and hesitancy running, you will not ever trust. They are the exact opposite of trust. And it's a moment, it takes a moment. I want to digress for a moment and talk about that, because this is again, it's not the implication of, oh, trust makes me do reckless things. No, 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 no. This is that trust that has released the judgment of self. It is that trust. Remember that trust and love are the same energy. So as trust and love are the same energy, you will never be able to love anyone more than you can love yourself. Thereby, you will never be able to love yourself unless you are able to trust yourself. So there is that ever refining cycle that is actually kept in that second chakra of creation, which is also that chakra of sex, which is why a lot of relationships are always drawn in here, which sustains the victim cycle. Let us not forget that the victim cycle, I'm going to put up that graphic again just to have it in front of us, that the victim cycle is the victim, abuser, rescuer. It is all one energy shifting faces, but it's you. You are always the victim, rescuer, abuser, and thereby you will always be finding others to take on those roles around you because it's the only way you can sustain it. And through that, what keeps that charged, what keeps the energy of the victim, rescuer, abuser going is fear, doubt, and hesitancy. And that's the interface with density. You are born through the sacred sequence of incarnation into a field of density where victim consciousness is the journey. You keep it alive through your fear, doubt, and hesitancy because that's the self-sabotage, because you live in a world of free will. It's a density trifecta. It creates and sustains that cycle. And this is the blessing of the moment of trust. How many of you, like Shri and I, how many of you, and if you've read any of our books, you know all that, right? How many of you grew up or have heard somebody was worried about you, or you needed medicine, or you shouldn't think that way, that's heretical, or, that's just not right. What if, just try this one on, right? Let's expand our consciousness a midge, right? What if everything you're capable of imagining is because it's actually memory of what you've had or are doing or have been or have seen in alternate potentialities?
Consider that.
Just you don't have to understand it. See it as a movie. And you don't have to fit. When we say see it as a movie, it doesn't mean that you're going, but I don't see. Everybody sees. It's the word see that limits your vision. Everybody sees. Let go of labeling how you see. Try just being, thereby the emergent intuition of wisdom and the way that you express that comes forward. And in the knowing, and we started sharing about this back in February when that first full moon came up, that first crystalline full moon, it arose with that crystalline recognition of forgive them, they know not what they do. Yes. Love them, they know not what they do. And that by holding I am here as the sea of neutrality, we are now ready, because that was February. And then, here we are, we just hit that March, waiting to get the April, anchor, but it's not going to fully, September is where it goes. Yes. And from April to September, it's what's being fed. What are you putting in? What are you putting in? How are you doing it? How is it all flowing and coming together? It's a moment that it really is what Lori said. And Lori, I really appreciate you being, right? We are at a moment where humanity is at the I wish I would have, or I'm glad I did moment. Mm-hmm. It really is about that with every breath. I wish I would have, or I'm glad I did. And it doesn't mean they're mutually exclusive. You're going to have plenty of both. It's as Shri was talking about earlier, right? It's the awareness and the consciousness that's meeting that.
Absolutely. I just put this up for a second.
Please.
The cycle of ascended consciousness, awareness, experience, and choice.
Yes.
So it's an interesting discernment that as we become aware and notice our experiences, we automatically have new information and energies to choose again, and we keep cycling through awareness, experience, and choice. And the key here is to understand that this is not about judging that anything that's gone before is wrong. It's about recognizing the gifts of all that has contributed to this moment now. And so oftentimes people get caught in the regret of, oh, I wish I would have. And the wish I would have then fuels the belief that there's something wrong with me.
Breathe that in.
And that belief is a universal wound in human consciousness, that I have
original sin.
I have a flaw. There's something wrong with me. And because it's really uncomfortable to feel, nobody wants to feel that. Instead of owning that I'm carrying this belief about myself, we project it out into the world.
I'm not good enough.
And we start saying, no, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. But in fact, that judgment is fueled by a self-doubt and a self-judgment. And therein is the healing work. Many people have said the path of self-ascension, the path of awakening is a healing journey. Well, of course it is, because healing means balance. Healing is rebalancing that which was a little a-kilter, a little uncomfortable. And whether it's a physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, at every level, we find an ever-refining balance emerges with every breath that we breathe consciously.
Yep. And the gift of it is, and I always go back to, please, if you're not engaged, ShriandKara.com, I really encourage you, go read the recent articles. But while you're there, check out, there are, thousands of pages of material from 20 years out there. And Find the Lost Books of the Essene, book 5.
Yes.
Remember that we're at that moment where I lovingly call it the 5-star generals, where all of the 5-star generals have arrived and said, I am here as one.
Yes.
I am here in service to. I am here because it's just the right thing to do through the lens of the filters of consciousness that have brought us all through the unified stream of the sacred sequence of incarnation, which is able to transcend all potentialities and all dimensions as the foundation of ascended numerology, the real thing. And so through all of that, everything, this moment has collided because we all said, I will be here.
Mm-hmm.
I will be here as I am. Having gone, that was phenomenal. Arising into that moment of presence, that moment where the smile is eternal and where that steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust is so aligned that there is not even a breath of self-sabotage. Because fear, doubt, and hesitancy do not exist, thereby the victim, abuser, rescuer cannot be sustained because the body of form has relaxed those first 3 chakras from safety, sex, and power to the peace of knowing, the love of creation, and the joy of serving. Thereby, the body itself goes into its highest form so that the heart stabilizes, I am here, as the sea of neutrality ignited, radiating the 12 chakras of ascended presence, holding open the gateway of conscious ascended being in form. Conscious ascended being in form. And I want to take a minute and share about this because this is really important.
Yes.
Many, many years ago, I remember I went to a group. They were formerly called the Forum, and then they morphed into whatever it is I went to. I went to One Experience. And what was so interesting to me when I was there is many, many years ago, that was in Texas, was that they lured you there under this guise that you were going to be a teacher. And I was a great teacher. I was in the corporate world. I was a CEO. I loved it. I was, waking up. I knew things were happening. I didn't know what yet, but I knew something was going on. and this was only about, it was probably 5 years before I met Sri. And the reason I'm sharing the story with you was that at the end of the day, what happened was that everything was about the rules of waking up and how you would wake up. And that it was all about ascension. And I didn't understand what this one woman was talking about. And she happened to be from Santa Fe, and I lived in New Mexico. I was actually living in Albuquerque at this time. This was 1994, if that tells you how long ago this was, because that's when I was living in downtown, Old Town Albuquerque, which I adored. And so we got together, and she said, well, that was all well and good, but, it's really about ascension. I'm like, well, what does that mean to you? And she's like, well, we're going to leave this planet and take our body with us. And I thought, okay, that was interesting. That was really the first time that had ever been like, I really never thought about it, never had it really put in front of me, even though I had already had the Women Wellness Awakening series out there. I was already a very well-known public speaker. I had been on Good Morning America. I was, there was a lot happening. And what I now know after all these years is that it's just the opposite, my angels. It's not about taking a body of form that is co-created through this potentiality of consciousness to sustain that which we are, thereby offering us these limitless potentialities to create, destroy, create, destroy, until we keep expanding that envelope ourselves, right? So you got that one? So imagine, because remember, your imagination is only that which you have already accomplished, which is why from day one you are taught to ignore it and that it is not real. Okay? So try to unwind that one. And then when we come together right now, what I am in this moment and have been, always have been, as have you, yet the only difference between you and I is that I 100% am anchored into the knowing of that. And what does that mean? That presence that carries the direct connection to the highest source of that which I am is the conscious awareness of this body of form that is absolutely sustaining that unified field throughout multiple experiences. And that is ascension. Ascension, that's why all ascended beings carry a form. It doesn't matter when they walk in or how they showed up. They're saying to you, you don't need to leave to be. You know, Sri said this for years. You don't have to die to ascend. And just because I have doesn't mean that either, right? Because from 2015 to right now, it was a 7-year escalator for us all. For us all. And so in this moment, especially with the rapid escalation of today,
Yes.
this equinox that many of us who are together right now, we're together. It is now 11:53. We've been in this energy since 10:22 our time today. This energy that's saying the balance is here. You are capable of carrying the ascended consciousness whereby you can sustain everyone in their highest presence.
Yes.
The divine director sent us and gave us that beautiful message. It's at our website. But imagine a world, which really means know it, or I am it. Know the world. Together, let us do this. Know the world where every being is expressing their highest being at all times. Know this potentiality in the expansiveness of limitless co-creation, where all of your greatest dreams that carry the greatest joy for the greatest potentiality are manifest now. I am here as you are, and together we are so better. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being on this planet right now. Thank you for being here right now. Whether or not you think you understand anything that's happening is irrelevant, because you do.
You're here.
You do. And so why not have fun? I remember, at that same conference in 94, I was still Miss CEO. And I remember this woman coming up to me and looking kind of like I do now, going, I used to look like you. And I thought she was so crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, I look like her in my own way. I am here as you are.
It's time to let the smile of the eternal ascended presence take form on your face. Gaze into the mirror and look at yourself with love and say, wow, I am an evolving creation. I am constantly renewed. And in this moment, I trust myself fully.
And I know that is the truth. And when I feel doubt and when I feel fear, I love myself enough to wrap my arms around me and to remember I am here.
Yes.
We love you so much. Hey, Tuesday, be there. And tomorrow night, Monday Magic, after we have been at the Guardiana de la Fe.
Oh, you're going to want to be part of that.
You want to be there live if you can at all be there live. And remember, your donation supports everything going on, right? So be there Monday Magic tomorrow night. Be there Tuesday. Join us as part of the unified.org worldwide meditation for peace. Let's really do this, guys. This is humanity's moment, and together we are better. We'll see you then tomorrow night.
Igniting.